Hi, welcome to this video on paper 2, questions 1 to 6. We're going to go through all the questions. This is the non-fiction reading exam where we compare a text, a 21st century one with a 19th one. This one is on the theme of cycling. So question 1. So question 1 then, it's worth 3 marks. You get 3 separate questions worth 1 mark each. You need full sentences. What do you need to remember? Specific details. What do you need to avoid? Quote and terminology. So basically it's an information retrieval question. We want to avoid single words as well. We want to make sure we have a sentence. So there we are, question 1, first one of our 6. So you need to identify the key words in the question and scan through the text to find them. And like I said, it's a search and find, so we're testing your ability to identify information and ideas in a text. You're going to be asked to look for explicit point and implicit points. So explicit points is obvious bits. So for example, it was busy in the shop. That would be explicit, they're telling you that. And an implicit point and subtle hidden meanings, the queue snaked around half the shop. So you'd meant to imply from that you it would be busy in the shop because it's snaking around in a queue. So you need to use whole sentences and keep them brief. Don't copy out whole chunks. They call that indiscriminate copying. Basically showing the examiner you're not too sure what the answer is. So you're just going to copy out loads of stuff. So let's look at a few teacher tips to help you with this question. Tip 1, read each question twice. Very simple, but just to make sure you get the right question. Teacher tip number 2, read with the question in mind. Use the highlighters. You need to pick out key evidence that will help you with the answer to the question. So highlighters are really good. However, what we don't want you to do is highlight every single thing, because too much will make it difficult to work out which evidence to use. So only highlight key things for the question. And then they are all together, 3 teacher tips. So many of my students failed to gain full marks because they simply didn't read the question. Students need to answer in a simple sentence type answer. So for example, if the question was list 4 things from this part of the text about the man's physical appearance, he had wild eyes would be a correct sentence, and just putting wild eyes is not. So it doesn't answer the question completely. It's not a sentence. So just make sure, don't be lazy, make sure you write a couple more words in your sentence to get the mark. If you can't find it, leave it. So what I mean by this is these questions are only worth 1 mark. It's at a 40. So don't be spending 5 or 6 minutes looking for 1 mark. It's not worth it. Just leave a line, leave a blank space, and if you go back to it at the end if you've got time. So the questions are, so we're looking at the 21st century text called Reinventing the World. We've got 3 questions on it. Number 1 is name 1 place or area where the guy has enjoyed cycling. B, name 1 cyclist Charles says he helped to increase the popularity of cycling. And C, give 1 reason why Britain is such a good place to cycle. So you're looking through the text and you're answering these 3 questions. So there's the 21st century text. It's a page and a half. The 21st century text will normally be a page and a half, and it will normally be longer than the 19th. So the 19th century one maybe be like 3/4 of a page. The 21st century one's a bit longer. So the question, first one, A, name 1 place or area where the guys enjoyed cycling. So you just got to find it, simple as that. And he says pretty early on, in France, and you could have also have had Richmond Park, and you could have also had Alps of Surrey. Okay, I'd say in the mark scheme it does give you all 3 options, but I would say all 4 options. But I would say that you should be looking at North Downs, Richmond, France. I think the Alps of Surrey one is a little bit of a funny answer, but it gives you those choices in the mark scheme. B, name 1 cyclist Charles says has helped to increase the popularity, and he says loads. So Chris Hoy, Victoria Pendleton, Bradley Wiggins. So you could add 1 of those 3. And C, give 1 reason why Britain is such a good place to cycle. And then it says here that the landscape of Britain is perfect for cycling. It's a mind-boggling 10,000 miles. And it also says it has panoramic views. So again, with these sort of questions, there probably just won't be 1 thing. It'll probably be 2 or 3 options you can have. You just got to pick 1. Okay, so remember our teacher tips. Read the question twice, highlight key information. And again, we're going to do a simple sentence. So, name 1 place. In this instance, maybe you could just put Richmond Park, but I probably would say Charles Samarsif has enjoyed cycling in Richmond Park or the North Downs. B, name 1 cyclist, Chris Hoy, Victoria Pendleton. And the last one, give 1 reason. So I would say why Britain is such a good place to say. Charles thinks it's a good place because the landscape is perfect. over 10,000 miles, panoramic views. Okay, question 3. This is basically the same as question 1, the only difference being that you'll be looking at the second extract, which is the 19th century extract. This one is on Frances Willard, so pause the video if you want to read a bit about her. And like I said, it's question 3. Question 3 is very much like question 1, will be on the 19th century text. Don't get stressed out, it's about it's from the 19th century, just treat it just the same as the 21st century one. You need to identify the key words in the question and scan through the text to find them. It's testing your ability to identify information in the text. Okay. Use whole sentences but keep them brief. Don't copy out whole chunks of sentences. So there's a few teacher tips we're going to give you. So the first teacher tip is read each question twice. Read with the question in mind. Use a highlight to pick up key information, but don't be specific. Don't highlight loads of stuff because all you'll see is one big highlighted bit of writing. So use the highlighter just for key information. Okay, make sure that you answer in a sentence. You don't just put like for example, if the question was name 4 things about somehow they look, put he had wild eyes sentence. Don't just put wild eyes. So just make sure each answer makes sense on its own. So basically it's a simple sentence. If you can't find it, leave it. Don't spend 5 minutes looking for 1 mark. It's a 40-mark exam. It's absolutely a waste of time to spend 5 minutes looking at it. So if you can't find it, leave yourself a couple of lines. You can go back to it at the end. So here's the extract. Questions are: how old was Frances Willard when she learned to ride? Why is cycling especially good exercise? And why did Frances Willard not choose horseback riding as a form of exercise? And there's a photo of Frances Willard there. Okay, so how old was Frances Willard? So all it is, really simple, just find it in the text. Shows she was 53. Why is cycling especially good exercise? The exercise as well, and equally distributed over the whole body. No muscle is like to be over-exercised. Why did Frances Willard not choose horseback riding? Basically because it was expensive. So A, she was 53. B, the whole body is exercised. Or no muscle was likely to be over-exercised. You could add either of them. And C, it's an expensive form of exercise. All of them are written into a sentence. I haven't just put whole body is exercised. I haven't just put expensive. Just write the sentence to make sure you get the mark.